I swear to fulfill to the best of my ability and judgment this covenant. I will respect the hard-won scientific gains of those physicians in whose steps I walk, and gladly share such knowledge as is mine with those who are to follow. I will apply for the benefit of the sick all measures that are required, avoiding those twin traps of overtreatment and therapeutic nihilism. I will remember that there is art to medicine as well as science, and that warmth, sympathy, and understanding may outweigh the surgeon's knife or the chemist's drug. I will not be ashamed to say I know not, nor will I fail to call in my colleagues when the skills of another are needed for a patient's recovery. I will respect the privacy of my patients, for their problems are not disclosed to me that the world may know. Most especially must I tread with care in matters of life and death. If it is given to me to save a life, all thanks, but it may also be within my power to take a life. This awesome responsibility must be faced with great humbleness and awareness of my own frailty. Above all, I must not play at God. I remember that I do not treat a fever chart, a cancerous growth, but a sick human being whose illness may affect the person's family and economic stability. My responsibility includes these related problems if I am to care adequately for the sick. I will prevent disease whenever I can, for prevention is preferable to cure. I will remember that I remain a member of society with special obligations to all my fellow human beings, those sound of mind and body as well as the infirm. If I do not violate this oath, may I enjoy life and art, respected while I live and remembered with affection thereafter. May I always act so as to preserve the finest traditions of my calling, and may I long experience the joy of healing those who seek my help. Hello, I'm Dr. Tolu Ajibade, and this makes it the third time I'll be swearing to the Hippocratic Oath, even though it's been different versions every single time. I'm sure a lot of you wonder why I had to do it 3 times, and why different versions. In this video, I'll be unveiling and answering those unanswered questions. So stay tuned and welcome back to another video. In this video, I'll be touching on the origins of the Hippocratic Oath, the modern versions of it, the relevance today, is it binding or not, and why I had to swear it twice, okay? So let's get into it. The Hippocratic Oath is an oath of ethics historically taken by physicians. It is one of the most widely known of the Greek medical texts. The original forms required a new physician to swear by a couple of healing gods and to uphold specific ethical standards. It has been regarded as the earliest expression of medical ethics in the Western world, establishing several principles of medical ethics which guide practice even in current times. The first appearance of the oath was in 400 BC, and then it was rediscovered by the German medieval scholars in the 1500s. In the 1700s, it was translated into English and incorporated into Western medicine. The oath has been revised a couple of times, but one of the most significant changes was made in 1948 by the World Medical Association. The World Medical Organization showed concern over the state of medical ethics in general following the medical atrocities which had been committed during the World War. There's been some rephrasing of particular elements as well, so as to be more adapted to the current society and be more politically correct. The original oath read, "My colleagues will be my brothers." Later, it was changed to "sisters and brothers." In most recent versions, things like age, disability, gender, and sexual orientation have been added as factors that shouldn't interfere with a doctor's duty when seeing the patient. The health in general of a patient is now the doctor's first consideration compared to the health and life as stated in the original declaration. This was necessitated by the need to free medical professionals from having to extend life at all costs, even when it wasn't deemed to be in the best interest of the patient. Because sometimes a patient could be in extreme pain, and extending the person's life would mean extending the pain for the person. A requirement for physicians to attend to their own health as well as their patient's health was also added to the oath, making sure that doctors and nurses, and making sure that physicians actually are healthy enough to take care of patients, because it only takes a healthy doctor to treat a patient. Okay, both the patient and the doctor can be sick. Okay, so it's important and still emphasized today that medical practitioners should take care of their health as well as their patients. Now to the question of its relevance today. In the 1960s, the Hippocratic Oath was made to become a more secular obligation, not to be taken in the presence of any gods, but only in the presence of other people who serve as witnesses. So it became less of a spiritual bind and more of a secular obligation. Nowadays, it's sworn more for sentimental reasons. It should also be understood that so many medical schools and medical councils all over the world have different versions of the Hippocratic Oath, so as to fit into their own system of ethics about if it's binding or not. As I mentioned earlier, nowadays the Hippocratic Oath is more of a sentimental thing. It is not legally binding. There is no direct punishment for breaking the oath. Although an arguable equivalent in modern times is medical malpractice, which carries a wide range of punishments. And this is guided by the health councils or medical councils of each individual country. And good practice is based on their guidelines, the guidelines of these health councils. And that is what is binding legally. Now to the question of why I had to swear twice. Well, I had studied outside of my home country. When I graduated in that country, I was made to swear the oath as a prerequisite to graduation and an induction over there. And then coming back to my home country, as I mentioned, different countries have different versions of it. Coming back to my home country, I had to do the exams, pass the exams, prove myself worthy to join their medical body. And upon completing all of that, I was made to swear the Hippocratic Oath for the second time. The second time was at the beginning of this video when I swore the Hippocratic Oath. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more videos. Leave your comments in the comment section. Drop ideas on topics you want me to touch on in the nearest future. Thank you very much, and see you in the next one.